For me, I think a change maker is someone who faces challenges in their own lives and perhaps identifies them in other people's lives. And they go through a struggle, and it's really through that struggle and their persistence that they're able to set something in motion that creates change, it creates something new, and it ripples through time and space to affect people's lives for the better.
I like that the exhibition actually tells the story of local women. This is, to me, something that you don't expect to see in a museum, like the representation of local Rochesterian women there. That's very inspiring.
It's crazy to think how many inspiring women are connected right here in Rochester. I mean, we've heard of, Susan B. Anthony and Abby Wambach and maybe the Douglases, but other than that, there's so many more stories that are yet to be told, and I really love that this exhibit really is very diverse and tells everyone's story.
It is good, it's great, it is powerfully good. It's talking about all the little women who changed the world.
The scope of this exhibit is very unique for us, and perhaps in the Rochester region. We're featuring over 200 changemakers. So it's very exciting to be able to feature both historic and contemporary women, as well as women from diverse backgrounds. So we're really able to tell stories that are lesser known and ones that you might not have even heard of before.
I'm inspired because I didn't know there were so many girls from Rochester that changed the world.
The greatest thing to me is that, some of these women, I know them personally, so that's very inspiring.
I feel like it's really cool because I know who these people are, and I can see their faces, wow, they actually made a difference, and I know these people.
One of the things that's been so wonderful about this process is getting to know a lot more about the featured change makers, and I've been amazed by how willing these women have been to share their life and work throughout the process. One of those examples is with Almita Whitus, who shared her story of her first time on stage with us, and it's just really an amazing story, and I'm so glad that I've gotten to hear it firsthand from her, and that we'll be able to present that in the exhibit.
There's lots of contemporaries in the exhibit, and to get to meet them and talk to them has been just really fun.
So I think it's really important for everyone to be able to see themselves represented so they have that opportunity, and I can already see that this is going to have a really big impact, especially in this year 2020 when we're already going through so much change.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely so you can look around and see someone, you can kind of be like, oh, they did it, so I can do it too, no matter what their challenges and struggles were.
So one of the stories that I connect with is that of Dorothy Lane McIntyre, and this is one that was totally unfamiliar to me before we started working on this project. I've been really inspired by her example because in 1940, at the young age of 22, she actually became the first Black woman licensed by the Civil Aeronautics Authority, which is amazing. I mean, just even getting into West Virginia State College, into the program that she was in, was amazing because only one woman for every 10 men was accepted. So a real change maker in her time that has influenced the paths of many women who have decided they could go into a career in aviation by following her example. And she grew up in Leroy, New York, so a very exciting hometown story.
I like the one with the ballerina because she is very brave.
Eunice Foote, who I'm standing by her label here. Now it's just an incredible story of this person she's labeled as an amateur scientist. Why? Because she was a woman, so she wasn't allowed to be a professional scientist, so they could only call her an amateur, which is just it's crazy when you think about the work that she was doing. Because in 1856, she identified the possibility for climate change. When you look in the science history books, it's credited to a guy named Tyndall. But she did it first, and just locally. And that's incredibly cool to me.
I hope that people who visit the exhibit come to understand that women have made important contributions throughout history. They're continuing to make important contributions, and those achievements impact all areas of our lives. And these are not just the women that we've all heard about. These are the women that are lesser known. They're women from all backgrounds, and they have worked in all sectors in order to create important changes that affect us all and have made a more just, a more equitable, a more healthy, and a more sustainable world for all of us.
I hope girls, they think, in their minds, there's nothing impossible. I can accomplish anything I want. There's no barriers. So that's the most important thing about this exhibit, I think.
We're so excited to have everyone come in and decide and see that they can be the change makers in their communities, in their family, and in the entire world.
We can be change makers.
Welcome, friends, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm Catherine Morano Santos, Senior Director of Collections and Exhibits at the Rochester Museum and Science Center. And I'm so excited to welcome you to the opening of our newest exhibition, The Changemakers, Rochester Women Who Changed the World. This exhibit celebrates the inspiring stories of diverse, historic, and contemporary Rochester, Indigenous, and Haudenosaunee women, activists, organizers, inventors, and entrepreneurs who changed Rochester and the world. As we honor these women, it's critical to acknowledge that we're standing on the unceded land of the Onondaga Seneca people of the Haudenosaunee Iroquois Confederacy. The Rochester Museum and Science Center acknowledges that it was founded on the displacement, exclusion, and erasure of Indigenous peoples, including those on whose land this institution is located. The Changemakers exhibition honors the remarkable contributions of the Native women of these lands, both past and present. And to recognize the connection of Haudenosaunee women to this land, this exhibit is inclusive of all Haudenosaunee communities that encompass what is now called New York State and beyond. This acknowledgement is one small step in the process of dismantling the unjust legacies of colonialism and honoring Indigenous peoples. And to recognize our debt of gratitude to Haudenosaunee women, I'd like to welcome Letitia McNaughton to open our program in the Mohawk language.
Sego Seogwego. I thought I'd open our event with the traditional Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. This is what we say before we gather, and it's a way to give greetings and respect and thanks to the world and to creation and to each other as people to bring all of our minds together. Ona soadahun si oskanjokwa I gariwayan dakwa ne ahondo gariwadakwa ne gunu horadunsara. Agwewanska ne ji and dua nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne ungwesa atanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Agwewanska ne ji and dua nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado yunkinista ha huanja atanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Agwewanska ne ji and dua nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne ganagaran yoni ji huanjade atanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne gunjuk soa godinagare ne wange etanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne ahande soa dana ne aqua tikwa guana ne junhekwa ne honeste osaheda dana ona unzara dana oni diatino horados ne onungosoa dana diatino horado ne gahiksoa etanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne ojinua soa dana garyoda soa dana nene aqua tikwari guana ne oskanundo etanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne garanda agoa. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne ojita agoa dana etanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne gayari ne gawerage etanidan hak ne ungwatnigoro. Gwegoanska ne ji ne roa nuni ne ungwatnigoro dana diatino horado ne yunkisatago aradiweras dana one de chidiwanu horado ne sungot giagarakwa dana oni diatino horado ne yunkisatagua or yunkisatagarakwa dana oni yochistokuran yunjit kuran hade Atanidin hak ne Guatnigora, ne Guego, Jeet Kurnhade. Dano Gueguanska, ne G and Dua with no ne Guatnigora, Dano the Chidu and the Horado ne Stongo Diso, Atanidin hak ne Guatnigora. Dano Eto, Nanat Gadari what Guaniji Nahoda, Gario and Dakwa. Doga Otana and get Nigorha, a wado easy as a watka with Niguna word untura. Dano eto Niguanage, Dano ona eto. So, I pretty much gave thanks to all of the parts of creation that we hold relationships to as humans. And so that includes each other as people, the waters, Mother Earth, the fish that live within the waters, all of the green growing things, including our medicines, our plants, the sustainers, the corn beans and squash, as well as the insect life and animal life and bird life. We also give thanks to the trees and the thunder beings that come to visit, as well as all of the celestial bodies occupying the sky, including Elder Sun, who gives us warmth, the moon, who gives respect to the women, and also the stars in the sky, and Sangoyotiso, he who made us. And so, in giving this address, I send my greetings and thanks to you, and that I hope that today we would all embrace this feeling of gratitude and give thanks to each other as people. Yeah.
Thank you, Letitia, for helping us all begin with a good mind. 2020 is a time of ongoing trauma and great celebration. In the centennial year of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, the American people have elected the nation's first woman vice president, first Black vice president, and first Asian American vice president. And yet we're in the midst of the dual pandemics of racial injustice and coronavirus. And that backdrop really embodies the spirit of the Changemakers. The exhibit features more than 200 diverse past and present women of the Rochester region and the Haudenosaunee Confederacy who have challenged and broken gender, race, and other barriers to light the way for others. The injustices of the past shape the inequalities and inequities of today, but it's really the examples of these women, many of whom are continuing to affect change, that will inspire and empower a more just future for us all. Visitors to the exhibit will be able to see themselves in these changemakers as they follow their paths through the exhibit's immersive spaces, interactive experiences, and authentic objects that document their work. Their struggles and triumphs highlight the ongoing work of women to imagine a more equitable, sustainable, and inclusive future, whether it's combating voter suppression, like Maria Lopez, fighting for racial justice, like Reverend Vernice Warfield, Reverend Myra Brown, and Danielle Ponder, affirming rights for women, people with disabilities, the LGBTQ community, like Samiha Islam, Anita Cameron, and Sue Cowell, or teaching and advocating for different relationships with each other and the natural world, like Tara Lynn Brandt and Gaji Cook, and so many, many, many more. Whatever your passion, there is a changemaker who has paved the way for you to follow your dreams. As you pilot a flight simulation, engineer a home to meet your needs, and think about the barriers you wish to break in your own life, you will see the contributions of changemakers impact all areas of our lives. This unique and ambitious exhibition was made possible by a collaboration between the RMSC staff and community members who are passionate about sharing the stories of these changemakers. By utilizing a community curation model and practicing shared authority in our decision-making, we've brought in new perspectives that enhance our storytelling, ensure greater accuracy and authenticity in representing the women and communities featured in the exhibition. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to all the community curators who shared your time, perspective, and knowledge to partner with us through all phases of exhibit development. That includes Amara Anderson, Jennifer Bannister, Dr. Tatiana Bakhmetyeva, Lydia Body Rice, Shalinda Bowler, Maria Bryan, Jane Bryant, Velverly Caldwell, Amy Carpenter, Dr. Julie Decker, Rachel Y. de Guzman, Dr. Rebecca DeRue, Dr. Kristen Dowdy, Morgan Farrow, Michelle Finn, Juliana Green, Autumn Haig, Justin Harmon, Janazia Harrell, Joan Coles Howard, Deborah L. Hughes, Nino Irizarry, Annette Jimenez Gleason, Emily Jones, Meg Joseph, Jessica Locker Feldman, Lily Lee, Mimi W. Lee, Dr. Tina Lent, Carmen Ibis Lopez, Michael Mayorino, Wanda Martinez John Cox, Donna Morano, Lisa O'Malley, Yu Kwan, Barbara Quinn, Christine L. Radarski, Nydia Padilla Rodriguez, Kathy Ross, Cheryl Sampson, Dr. Jessica Slentz, Jacqueline Sprague, Carolyn Vaca, Paul F. Walker, Brianna Williams, Tashiana Williams, Jalen Wims, and Amari A. Woods. Thank you. And thank you also to our community partner organizations, Asian Pacific Islander American Association, Borinquen Dance Theater, Inc., Friends of Ganondagan, Ibero-American Action League, National Susan B. Anthony Museum and House, Office of the City Historian, Rochester Institute of Technology Museum Studies Program, Rochester Public Library, Teen Empowerment, University of Rochester Rush Reese Library, and University of Rochester Susan B. Anthony Institute for Gender, Sexuality, and Women's Studies. Many thanks. Thank you so much to the technical advisory group of volunteers at the RMSC who helped us with the research and development of all of the interactive opportunities in the exhibition. And a huge thank you to our diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants, Dr. Irma McLaurin, Letitia McNaughton, and Carolina Osorio Gil, for your work and important input into the project that has had a huge, huge impact. Thank you also to the many others who contributed to this exhibition throughout its development. We're forever grateful to you. And all of these acknowledgments can be found on the RMSC website at rmsc.org/changemakers. At this time, I'd like to introduce our diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants to share their experiences of working on the exhibition.
Hola, my name is Carolina Osorio Gil, and I am a scholar, artist, activist, and chef living in Ithaca, New York. And I'm one of the 3 diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants working on the Changemakers exhibition with the Rochester Museum and Science Center. It's been my privilege and honor to work alongside all of the community curators and RMSC staff to create an exhibition that's exciting and inclusive of women from all over Rochester area who have been influential in Rochester and beyond. I believe that every woman identifying person, and every person is truly a change maker. We make changes in our families, we make changes in our communities, and we make changes all around the world. Every action I take, every person I say hi to on the street, every person I help in my work, and even when I'm not at work, is a connection that has an effect that helps create change in positive directions. Specifically, in my work as a PhD student, I'm able to use the research that I do, the knowledge that I learn with books written by traditional European style academic authors, but also combined with authors who are historically marginalized, with artists who have been historically marginalized, and with communities and community members who have been historically marginalized, to lift up and make space for their stories, for them to share their own stories. And that's really what I've been trying to bring to my contribution of the Changemakers exhibition. I want to make sure that you can see yourself within these stories and that you can see how you're a change maker. So how are you a change maker?
Hi, my name is Letitia McNaughton. I'm the Mohawk Nation, but I'm from the Tuscarora Nation in New York, and I'm also Wolf Clan. I was part of the diversity inclusion team this past year for the planning and development of the Changemakers Exhibit, and it's been an incredible journey over this past year. Just being able to work on this project alongside some really great people and to just tell the stories of all of these incredible women who are in the exhibit, all of these women and people who have been change makers and who have just been doing this incredible work all this time, and to be able to document that through interviews and through labels and through objects and just sharing their stories is so important, because we can pay our respects and honor to them, and we can learn from them and better embody what it is to be change makers ourselves. And I see this influencing our younger generations too, in learning what it means to be a change maker. And so in Haudenosaunee culture and tradition, I think about some of our women change makers who have paved the way, and I think of Sky Woman, who is featured in the exhibit, as well as Jagon Sase, who is also featured within the exhibit. And these were two strong individuals who made choices, who paved the way for people, and did so out of selflessness, did so out of chance. Maybe they didn't set out to be change makers, but in one way or another, their actions actually changed the world and changed their ways of being. And so I want to thank all of the change makers who are in the exhibit for their work, and to be able to share with all of us their journey and experiences and story. And just wanted to thank Rochester Museum and Science Center staff and our diversity and inclusion consultant team. And very excited about the opening and just seeing all these stories come to life in the physical form. And I just hope that this will inspire younger people and inspire people to really think about our women and think about gender diverse people, and all of the unseen work and unseen changes they've made in the world. That impact is so important. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dr. Irma McLaurin. I'm a cultural anthropologist, a freelance writer, and the owner of Irma McLaurin Solutions, a consulting business. Museums are all about access. They are windows onto our past and increasingly our present. They are knowledge shapers and knowledge producers. As a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant for the Rochester Museum and Science Center, this afforded me an extraordinary opportunity to be in community. I've had the chance of working closely with Letitia of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and Carolina, who is a Latinx activist, as well as Catherine from RMSC, who is the project manager and has proven herself to be a strong white ally. Being involved in this exhibit from the very beginning has afforded me a unique opportunity to see how knowledge in museums is shaped. Museums are significant players in helping the public to understand our culture, different groups of people, and in doing so, RMSC did the right thing by bringing us in from the very beginning. Our involvement, I am convinced, has shifted the traditional white gaze that museums have historically had to one that is sensitive to how language and images shape bias and reproduce stereotypes. or can disrupt them. This exhibit, The Changemakers, Rochester Women Who Changed the World, is such a disruption. After seeing it, visitors must see Rochester, their Rochester, from a very different angle, from multiple gazes through a DEI lens. My work as a DEI consultant and being involved in this exhibit actually makes me a change maker as well. What about you? Are you a change maker? Check out the exhibit and find out.
Thank you, Dr. Irma, and thanks for your incredibly valuable work on the exhibition. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight for this virtual opening of our newest exhibit, The Changemakers, Rochester Women Who Changed the World. I'm incredibly proud of the work that's been put into this new exhibition, and I'm delighted to see it all come together. It's an honor to use our regional history and cultural heritage collections to tell the stories of these changemakers from the Rochester region and from the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. Across history, many stories of women's accomplishments have been omitted from history books. This exhibition is just one of the many ways that we can shed light on some of the local women who paved the way for change in our region and around the world. Working with our community to bring this exhibition to life has been an exciting, seminal experience. It's created opportunities for us to give the community a rightful voice in our galleries and to provide a platform for those most impacted by these women to share their perspectives. A number of people and organizations have provided funding to help make it possible for us to present this exhibition to the community. We'd like to thank our marketing sponsor, James Bruin and Jane Plitt, our advocating sponsor, Harris Beach, media sponsors, WXXI and Optic Sky Productions, and our content area sponsors, Optimax, Morgan Stanley, and Rochester Clinical Research. Thank you all for your generosity. This exhibition was also funded in part by awards from Humanities New York, the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York State Council on the Arts, the New York State Women's Suffrage Commission, and the Rochester Area Community Foundation. Support from the RIT College of Liberal Arts enabled students to develop projects for the exhibition, with additional funding from RIT's Moving Forward, Suffrage Past, Present, and Future. We would also like to thank NEA Visualizing Change artists Tanya Day Magallan and Natasha Smoke Santiago, and guest curator for the Change Now installation, Rachel De Guzman, for their work to enhance and diversify the exhibition's representation. Last but not least, we want to extend an enormous thank you to the community curators, diversity, equity, and inclusion consultants, partner organizations, technical advisory group volunteers, and RMSC staff who have brought this exhibition to life. When you visit the RMSC to explore this exhibit and learn about the more than 200 women who are featured, we know that you can find stories that you can relate to, stories that remind you that you too can make an impact, and stories that inspire you to act on your passion and be the change makers.
Hi friends, this is Reverend Myra Brown. A change maker is someone who understands that they are the change that they've been looking for. So when the opportunity arrives for you to show up, you allow yourself to be led in that moment, knowing that every moment in this life is an opportunity to do good, to find one's voice, to speak truth to power, to end oppressive systems, and to work towards the vision that you've been given. Now that is a world that I want to live in. Blessings to you.
A change maker is someone who doesn't simply take the path less traveled, but sees a small gap in the woods and wonders, wouldn't it make a better path? And goes into the woods to see.
A change maker is someone who influences the trajectory for others. Un hacedor de cambio es alguien que influye en la trayectoria de otros. I never set out to be a change maker, but if by sharing and advocating from my own experiences could influence someone else's path forward, then you can say, I am a change maker. In 1993, I said, presente.
It is Gandhi who said, be the change you wish to see in the world. To me, a change maker is someone who embodies that quote, not because of ego, but because the desire to change, to help others, and to give back is much bigger than self.
A change maker can be anyone of any age who's willing to take on the status quo and stand up and create a better reality. A change maker is also someone who has a vision, who has determination, daringness, and creativity to bring about a new way of operating, hopefully a more just way.
A changemaker is an idealist and a risk taker who pursues an unexplored path, who is not defeated by failure and who never gives up. Tenacity and passion are the notable hallmarks of such a person. A changemaker works with a team of people, empowering them and inspiring them while driving change.
As a Haudenosaunee woman, to me, an Indigenous woman changemaker is someone who is breaking patterns of colonization and traumas that have impacted our people throughout the generations, while simultaneously carrying our culture and traditions on the forefront of her work. As Haudenosaunee women, we are telling our own narratives given to us from our ancestors and present themselves in the forms of our culture, our language, our music, our arts, and the celebration of our people. And this all shows our resilience of who we are.
A coat of many colors, a woman of many names. Daughter of Gibson and Geneva Sturgis of Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Sister, a woman of faith. Mom, Dr. B, Dr. Ruby. Breast cancer imaging specialist, a change maker. Trade, learned, limited, and finite, what you do. Gift, God-given, infinite, and free. A change maker is someone who has intuitively and innately figured out the difference between the two, but also how to balance those two and keep them in harmony to benefit others and not yourself. A change maker is one who is good to others and always remains true to themselves. God bless you, God keep you, and may He be with you.
Hello, my beautiful people. Annette Ramos here. A game changer is a woman who knows what she needs to do to get the job done, who supports other women while they struggle to reach their goals, who reaches her goals and then puts a hand out to help other women reach theirs. Be the change maker in a woman's life today.
A change maker is someone who is committed to making a difference in the lives of others. Someone who is a servant leader that collaborates with others to solve problems. And someone who truly wants to work to create a better world and community for all.
A changemaker is someone who isn't afraid to voice her opinion and isn't afraid to advocate for others, even though this might make her unpopular.
My warmest greetings. A change maker is one who dreams and visions, and then, gently yet firmly, paves the pathway towards it.
A change maker is someone who uses their voice, their being, as a platform to advocate for others, to break down barriers and to promote change. A change maker creates opportunities for all people, regardless of race, color, creed, or gender. While being true to themselves, a change maker works to improve the lives of others. We all can be change makers.
A change maker is someone who can navigate difference, meaning that they are open to being transformed by alternative cultures, languages, and life worlds. A change maker is someone who can dream beyond the limits of dominant powers and profits. They can envision and create beauty and justice for all of us.
Changemaker is a person that is changing life of others by encourage and empower them to be able to speak up other struggles, by encourage them to believe in themselves, to have faith of what they are doing, to lift up their self-esteem, by encourage them to never give up on what they are doing, that there's always another possibility, that there's always another way of how to do things. And what Changemakers are doing is exactly that, to encourage you to never give up.
A changemaker is someone that creates change in music, art, and fashion. What I do is art, music, and fashion, and I change people by creating trends, creating film, creating music, and that change is what I do. Change is a good thing.
A changemaker aspires for more. They're a go-getter and a go-giver because they get to give, to pay forward to the communities that they serve. We are better because of changemakers, because they make a difference.
According to me, a changemaker is someone who's crazy enough to believe that they can make a change. It should happen in one's mind first, and the universe will pay way to it. My spiritual guru always says, not doing what you cannot do is okay, but it's a crime not to do what you can do.
Hi, I'm honored to be part of the Changemaker. Over 200 women who have made history in Rochester and surrounding area. People like Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony, who has played the role for me to continue advocacy in the LGBTQ community. I'm hoping that my kids will be inspired to make the change and be an advocate.
Changemaker. The first thing I think of is someone who builds bridges to help us connect back to that path of creating. And that's what we are. We're creators, to take us back to our ways of healing and all our old teachings. To me, that's a change maker.
Greetings, I am Mayor Lovely Warren, and I am proud to be a change maker because I understand that every citizen in the city of Rochester, no matter where they worship, where they live, or who they choose to love, deserves equal access to opportunities to help them live a richer, fuller life. That's why I continue to fight for safer, more vibrant neighborhoods, more jobs, and better educational opportunities for our children and future generations. I want to thank the Rochester Museum and Science Center for holding me in such high regard, and congratulations to all of my fellow changemakers. I am honored to stand alongside you, creating change for the betterment of Rochester's residents.
Changemaker is somebody who can reach out beyond their own community and seek to teach people about others or things, or entertain people, and hopefully teach them a little something in the process. And that's what I've always wanted to do, both professionally and also as a volunteer.
Bienvenidos, welcome. My name is Nidia Padilla Rodriguez. I'm the founder and director of Borinquen Dance Theater, the first Puerto Rican young professional dance group in upstate New York, celebrating 40 years, November 6, 2021. I honor my ancestors. I am so proud and honored to be among so many distinguished women who have broken down barriers to open the doors for women of all colors to dream, to believe, to achieve, and to conquer the world. Sí se puede. Yes, you can.
A change maker is a person who actively works to effect positive social change. How they do this is determined by several things: self-change, fortitude, perseverance, leadership, proactivity, and finally, financial support for causes that will shape our world for the better.
A change maker is someone who can visualize a better world and then has the courage, the creativity, and the persistence to make it happen.
Changemakers work to make the community and the world a better place to live for everyone. In other words, they are the change they want to see in the world.
A change maker is someone like my mother, who inspired me to overcome life's many challenges and to pursue excellence, to boldly seek out creative solutions in bringing people together, to work hard, to persevere, to focus on a godly vision that all things work together for good according to his divine purpose. Ondeniyama, thank you for leaving such a legacy of love and purpose for me and others to follow.
When I think of a change maker, I think of someone who is bold, someone who isn't afraid to make big decisions that will change her life and that of even her family. I think of my grandmothers who brought their families from one place to another in order to have a better life. When I think of a change maker, I think of someone who is grateful for the opportunities she's been given, but makes sure and works to ensure that others will have the same opportunities or even better than she did. A change maker is someone who says thank you. So thank you.
A change maker is someone who is willing to take risks, someone who stands firmly on their value system and principles. A change maker is someone who respects history, our ancestries, and understands that at times there will be failure, but we get up and we go forward.
A changemaker is someone who seeks to know themselves. Knowing oneself is the key to connecting with others. Making things by hand has taught me how to appreciate what is around me and keeps me in touch with what is real. It took many years of art making to forge a strong connection between my hands, eyes, mind, emotions, and the subtle world at large. Observing life and the life of others has taught me to take the time to harmonize all aspects of a person. Knowing myself and knowing others allows me to create the change that I want to see in the world.
Hi, my name is Lutisha Andre Doucette, and I want to thank you for this opportunity. And what does a change maker mean for me? I kind of have to keep thinking about this over and over because I never thought to be in this position, but for me it really means pushing forward the boundaries of what we know, being innovative, as well as saying no to the status quo and pushing for the future that we all wish to see. Thanks so much.